Hey everybody, this is William Cunningham of myhopeinmarriage.com. You can visit me online at www.myhopeinmarriage.com. And the purpose of My Hope in Marriage is me sharing my knowledge and experience after 35 years of marriage and 35 years of studying marriage relationships, men and women, psychology, and so forth and so on. And I wanted to do that to help you have a happy and fulfilling marriage. That's the whole purpose, to help you to have a happy and successful marriage, to give you some tools, if you will, some resources that you can use to make that happen. Now, this particular video is a precursor to a larger, more detailed video on the topics that I'm going to discuss. And I thought it was expedient to do it because I get the comment from the guys on the videos and on my website, myhopeinmarriage.com, and it's quite disturbing. And not the comments, but it's disturbing that what is happening and what men have to go through in their marriages and what happens in their marriage that just kind of blindsides them. And as a result, lots of guys today, lots of young men are avoiding marriage because they feel as though it's too much of a risk. It's not going to produce the fulfillment and happiness that they thought that would come with having a partner. And unfortunately, that's going to help damage society, as other things are going to help do that too. But this is going to help damage our society because you're going to have, of course, men who are not helping to bring about children and so forth, and you got this particular mindset against marriage. Okay, but anyway, I want to make this video because I think it's important for guys to be encouraged. I want to encourage you, and I want to go down a list of, or not a list, some things, some topics to help put things in perspective and to help you realize, look, first of all, you're not alone, okay, and what the institute of marriage can be and what happens to get a particular marriage to be where that particular marriage is, all right? And typically it's unhappy, unfulfilling for both a man and a woman. But there's something going on now with this whole feminism and the whole feminism movement, and it's really affecting marriages. It's really affecting the mindset of women in a negative way. And unfortunately, that is not good for our society. We just don't see it yet, or they don't, and you don't expect them to. But anyway, I want to say, first of all, the Bible says that a man and a woman are to be one. A marriage is where the two become one. The man is the head of the wife, and that doesn't mean he's her boss. I don't want to discuss that now because that's a whole different topic. But he's the one that sticks his neck out first for his wife, for his family. That's what headship is all about. He's head of the wife as Jesus is head of the church. What did Jesus do for the church? He got crucified. Okay. All right. And it also implies submission of the wife to the husband. Now, of course, you would expect the husband to be worthy of the submission, but women tend to be rejecting that whole institution. And it's really it's negative effect on men, especially when one of these women get married. They have this, I don't need a man attitude and I can do my own thing attitude. And she's not engaged to her husband. All right. So that's a bad thing right there. But God intended for a man and a woman to be together, to be one. The Bible says that it wasn't good for the man to be alone. So he brought a woman to her to be be his companion, to be his helper. And together they made one. But that's not what was happening in marriages, in a lot of marriages today. Now, the problem, you can see the problem even at the proposal. Guys, when you propose, there's a problem. You probably overlooked it. First of all, you have to go get she's going to get an engagement ring, she's going to get a wedding ring, and you're going to end up with a little band. Right? She's going to go around showing her friends her ring. What are you going to do? All right, so you see a little problem there. And even the wedding ceremony, it's all about pomp and circumstance, about her. Everything is based on her, where you're the one who's going to be responsible. You're the one who's going to be the head. You're the one who's going to provide and protect, even though she may contribute, but she's a helper. All right? A man providing does not mean that the woman doesn't have to work. It just means that she's going to help her. She's going to be with him. All right? That's a whole different topic. Okay, so he has these expectations, and you should discuss these expectations with your significant other before you get married, because he may have one vision of a wife and she may have a completely different vision of what a wife is. So you really need to talk and bring those things into focus and know where you both are. Okay, and so he's going to have his expectations. Now, of course, she's going to have expectations too, but right now I'm talking about this from the man's perspective. All right. Okay, so he's going to have these expectations of happiness and fulfillment for his marriage. He assumes that him marrying this woman is going to bring him happiness and fulfillment. But in a lot of cases, that doesn't happen. A lot of cases, it ends up being pain and suffering. All right. All right. So he's going to notice that she changes. After you get married, she changes. And you're like, where did that come from? The woman you're married to is not the woman that you married, right? It's not the same one at the ceremony. And it's not so much that she changes. Now you're seeing more of the real her, and just as well as she's seeing more of the real you. Right? Because, when you're dating, you're putting the best foot forward, you make sure you're well groomed. But then when you get married, next thing you know, she's walking around in rags and you're walking around with baggy, holey, dirty clothes, But from the man's perspective, he wants a beautiful wife. Now, that doesn't mean you have to be a supermodel. It just means be presentable. Don't walk around wearing rags and bags. But it gets in the whole area of disrespect. And I don't want to get into that. But he expects that. He expects to be pleased by her. He expects to have pleasure by her. And a lot of times that doesn't happen. And it's unfortunate because guys, like I said, guys comment on these videos that I make and on my website. And, if you're suffering in your marriage and you're like wondering what's going on, you're not alone, guys. Okay. All right. Now, so you realize this change, and a lot of times you're going to realize changes anyway, both of you, husband and wife, during the disillusionment phase of the marriage, of the relationship. After you get married, you have the honeymoon phase. That's where you're holding hands in the supermarket and stuff like that. And then you have the disillusionment phase when life starts to kick in and you start seeing the real her, and then things that you thought were cute are no longer cute. Okay, so you're going to realize that there are going to be some changes. So it's best that you try to know as much as possible before you propose that, yes, this is really the woman that I want to marry. And you don't want to marry anyone. Women, you don't want to marry a guy, or guy, you don't want to marry a woman because you fell in love. That's not sufficient. Love is not sufficient for marriage. Love will fade. Now, you can keep it burning. You have that option to keep it burning and keep it lit and keep it, fiery, but it takes work. And a lot of people don't realize that. They just think it's you're in love, so no, but that's going to fade. I have a ebook on my website called "What Happens to Love and Marriage." You need to check it out. I go into details about that. So you realize, as a guy, that she's different. She's not the same person that you even fell in love with. She's not the same person that you said "I do" to and made those vows to on that wedding day. She's somebody different. She doesn't seem to care about you anymore. There's sex is diminished. There's no intimate conversation. There's no intimacy together. It's just you do your thing and she does hers. And that's basically your life together. And that's unfortunate. And you're scratching your head wondering what happened. She changed. She didn't really change. Now you're just really seeing the real her. Okay? It's just that she's seeing the real you. But Now, now some women will say, well, he changed too. Well, yeah. I mean, everybody changes. You know, we adapt to our situation. For example, me, I'm a lot more outgoing than I was way back in high school and early days of college and early days of work. I began to be more of an introvert, extrovert. All right. So everybody changes because our circumstances, our environment changes. Right. And what happens is you might realize that, you know, she changes now. Her affection seems to be not you as you thought it was. It seems to be her family. It seems to be Facebook, TV. It seems to be her career or even church activity. And God help you, when children come, you're going to be a second-class citizen. Any guy with children will tell you that. When a guy gets married and he has children, his wife's heart is going to switch from him, if it was on him in the first place, to the kids. All right. Any guy will tell you that with kids. Any guy will tell you that. It shouldn't be that way, but that's the way our society is. That's the way women typically are. All right. Not all, of course, not all. All right. There's some women who get it and they cling to her husband, you know, but a lot of them don't. And you end up becoming roommates where you do your thing and she does hers and the house gets taken care of. The bills get paid, the kid gets to school, he's get clothes, and so forth and so on. You're roommates. You're not husband and wife in the sense that you're together. All right? Okay. Now, we said the Bible says that it is not good for the man to be alone. God said it's not good for the man to be alone, so he brought to him a woman. So a man expects his wife to be his partner, you know, to be his helper. Unfortunately, men today are rejecting marriages because they're realizing, man, the marriages I see don't work out that way. You know, that's too much of a risk. They could lose a lot from getting married because of our judicial system. Do you know, I want to say this, do you know that 80% of divorces are initiated by women? And it's even higher if it's like a professional, well-to-do woman. Women are more likely to check out of the relationship than the guy. Men tend to stick around, statistically. I'm not saying, yeah, this is my feeling. No, statistically, men tend to stick around. Women tend to bail. Not all women, because there's some women who stick around when they probably should, you know, leave. I mean, I don't want to say that, but women tend to be the ones to end the relationship. And it's not necessarily in divorce. They may end the relationship because they reject their husband. They no longer engage with their husband. They live a separate life. The husband is no longer their heart. You know, the Bible says where your treasures is, that's where your heart is. All right. And you might find that her treasure is the children. Her treasure may be being a mother. You know, her treasure may be her job, her career. And you're not even part of it. You're just a provider. You're just a resource to facilitate her real motive. Okay, so married men, lots of married men are suffering emotional pain because the expectation of the marriage has caused them to feel that way. Their wife has abandoned them. There's no more intimacy. There's no more togetherness. Of course, sex is long gone. There's no more intimate conversations. It's just she does her thing and you do yours. And that could go on for decades. And as the pain grows, the Bible says, hope deferred makes the heart sick. And you're getting sicker and sicker every year because the expectation and a hope that you had for your marriage is you're seeing it fade away. And there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. Nothing. She has to want it to work. She has to want to put the work in. And you know, a lot of you husbands, you're looking at her day after day, month after month, year after year, putting her effort into getting promotions, you know, going back to school, doing all those things, making those sacrifices, even working hard in a church organization, or, really doing what needs to be done and going beyond or whatever, working real hard to make sure the children are educated. Okay, she's working real hard on her stuff, but there's no together stuff. There's no helping you stuff. She doesn't help you. She does her own thing and call that helping. And this is what guys deal with all the time. They're left alone. They're left rejected. We're left married to someone who is not our wives. Okay? All right? Now, you just think about that for a moment. So a lot of married men are miserable, but they still smile because they're guys. I'm not gonna expose my weakness, if you will. Okay? So guys need to think very carefully about marriage these days. And a lot of guys are rejecting it. They're like, I'm not getting married because there's too much to lose. If a man or woman if a man or woman get divorced, what's going to typically happen? All right? It is more likely that he's going to have to pay her. I don't know if it's for the rest of her life or whatever. If there are kids involved, he's going to have to pay alimony. Okay? But what is she gonna? What's her pain? There is none. She's going to get his money and she's going to go off, maybe find somebody else. But he's heartbroken. He thought that this was the one. He proposed. He thought that this was the one. And now look, not only is she gone and been gone even before the divorce, but now he has to pay. He has to get stabbed in the heart every month to pay. All right? So guys are like, I'm not doing that. I'm just going to live my life. I'm going to get my career, and I'm going to move forward myself. And a lot of them are like, I'll just have a chick on the side. I'm not going to marry her. That's unfortunate because that's bad for society. That's really bad for society. Okay? So, guys, you really got to consider carefully this person you're going to marry. Do I really want to marry her? Is she really the one? Think of it as a business deal. Look at all the pros and the cons. Look at all your data. Do what do you call it? A personality profile or something like that. Is this woman going to make a good wife? She might be a good woman. But that doesn't mean she's going to be a good wife. I have an article on that. I think I might have a video on it too. But you need to determine, is she going to be a good wife? What is a good wife? What do you think a good wife is? And what does she think a good wife is? You need to find that out. Okay? All right. So, but anyway, you need to think real carefully about proposing. Do you really want to do it? Take love out of the picture. Of course, you want to love her, but a lot of people get married where love is not even an issue. Like in an arranged marriage. I know a guy who has an arranged marriage, and he explained to me what the process was. And I'm like, oh, so they just don't grab two people here and you get married. They check things out. They check out the family. They check out the person. Who is this person? Is he good for my son? Is he good? Is she good for my son? Is he good for my daughter? So forth and so on. There's a lot that goes into it. And you need to put a lot into it too before you say, hey, will you marry me? And go buy this big ring, for what? Well, you get a little band. It's just really weird. So really determine what do you project from what you know about her now. Imagine her living in a house together with you. What do you see? Take that seriously. Don't take things for granted. Little things that you see during your dating and so forth. Take it as data. Everything's data. All right? Love has nothing to do with it. What's love got to do? Love has nothing to do with it. Of course, you want to love her, but love you can sustain. You can do things to keep your affections high. You can work on that. But you need to work on the other stuff too, because they're going to affect how you feel about her. It's hard to love someone, to have an affection for someone, good feeling for someone, when they're constantly rejecting you, when they constantly treat you like a second-class citizen, when they constantly do not engage. It's hard to have affection for your wife when she just goes somewhere else all the time and leaves you stranded, leaves you to fend for yourself, if you know what I mean. All right? So, another thing that you need to do is, even if you do decide, I think she's the one, how are you going to protect yourself? Because like I said, they change. And you can be as diligent as you want, they could change. They could really show the real you. You know, maybe they were really good at putting up a front. Who knows? Or just the real them just didn't have an opportunity to come out. And this is a phenomenon like if you marry someone right out of college, you may not have really seen the real person. You've seen the real student. All right? But you got to determine how you're going to protect yourself. If she turns out to be if it turns out to be a disaster, how are you going to protect yourself? Is she going to get half your stuff no matter what? You know, there's some say, you know, get a prenuptial agreement, and some say that's an insult. You know, no, it's a business deal. It has nothing to do with love. Right now, I'm crazy about you. But I know tomorrow you may be somebody else. So I'm protecting myself. And if you're on the up and up, it's no big deal. Right? Okay. Am I wrong? Am I wrong? Right or right? Okay. Now, guys, there are a lot of guys out there who are suffering in bad marriages. And by bad marriage, I don't mean that they have an abusive wife, or wife who just caused them a whole bunch of pain, a very aggressive woman. You know, that's, you know, you're going to get that. All right? But I'm talking about maybe passively, they just reject you all the time. They don't engage. There's no sex. There's no intimacy. There's nothing but your roommates. And a lot of guys didn't sign up for that when they said, I do. They didn't sign up for that. You know, we signed up for a wife, someone who's going to be our helper, our companion, our partner. All right? That's what we signed up for. And you have the privileges of marriage, you know, regarding, you know, sexual relationships. Even the Bible says, don't deprive yourself of what's due. You know, your body belongs to your husband. Your body belongs to your wife. But that gets thrown out the door. Now, I'm not saying that to say that you better do it, women, because the Bible says it. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying it because the Bible says that, which means that it's probably important. There's probably something significant there. And not to take it as a command, but as something that, as wisdom. All right? Okay, anyway. So, guys, always invest in yourself. Even if you're in a rotten marriage, even if your wife is just somewhere else, she doesn't engage with you, she's not part of your life really except for business, you know, being roommates. You know, you share in some responsibilities somehow, the bills get paid, but you're miserable. But look, invest in yourself, man. Even if your marriage is great, invest in yourself. God gave you a vision. You have a vision. You have a vision, right? If you don't, you better do some work. All right. Pursue those things. You're responsible for your own happiness, not her. As soon as you make your happiness and your well-being on someone else, then you're in trouble. You be responsible for your own happiness. Now, if you're the head, you have this vision, God-given vision, if you will, purportedly. So if she doesn't want to come along with you, okay, I'm going to go this way. Because the moment you start, let me say this, the moment you start following your wife, you're doomed. Doomed, because you were not made to follow her. She is not the head. God said you are the head. Now, if she wants to submit to you, fine. If she doesn't, what can you do? You can't make her. All right? Like, what's that movie, Bruce Almighty? Make her love me. All right? You take responsibility for yourself. Invest in yourself. Do what you need to do to progress and become a better version of you. Obtain and protect your success. You don't want anybody to come in and take what you work hard for if they have not been a part of it. And that's a problem. I'm not saying that if there's a divorce that you shouldn't split things fairly. I'm not saying that. All right. But it's not fair. It's not right. It's not just if you have to split things fairly with someone who was never a part of it. That's what I'm saying. She was never a part of it. Now you got to give her half. I don't know if it's really half, but you know what I mean. But the important thing is, guys, invest in yourself. Be responsible for your own happiness. All right? Married or not married, you take care of yourself. You know, having a good wife means that she's going to be there with you. If she's always doing something else, if she's always finding a way to do something else besides where you're going, there's nothing you can do about it. There's nothing you can do about it. You can sit here and complain and fret about it. That's just making you worse. Forgive. Go ahead. Brush it off. Do what you got to do. You're going to be happy. You're going to be fulfilled no matter what she does. You do it. All right? Okay, I just want to bring that out. And like I said, this is just a precursor to a larger, more in-depth discussion on these topics, on this general topic. But guys, I just want you to be encouraged that you're not alone. A lot of guys are suffering from the same situation, and a wife who's just somewhere else don't seem to want to be a wife. They just want to, be a roommate or a co-worker in Household Incorporated. So just be encouraged, man. Pick yourself up, man, and you make it happen. One day at a time, dude. One day at a time. And women, I just pray that if you're one of those women who get it, God bless you. God smile on you. You're a blessing to a guy. But if you're one of those women who just don't want to, you got married, but you're not with your husband, you got a problem. You need to fix it. Okay? All right. God bless you. Until the next time, I just say be blessed, and I just pray that you would have a happy and fulfilling marriage and or a happy and fulfilling life. That's my hope for marriage.